The Blue Eyes archetype has received even more support. The most recent tournament had this deck breakdown. Blue Eyes is definitely a strong deck now, but is it strong enough? Let's talk about that, and then I've got some gameplay lined up. The biggest boost Blue Eyes received was in a copy of Alternative Dragon, a card which prior to the 12th was not obtainable, and only seen through the usage of Alternative Evolution. What makes Alternative Dragon so useful for the deck is that it is a multi-use extender. Spirit Dragon is one of the best synchros in the game, and Alternative Dragon makes summoning it a lot easier. The effect to destroy a monster in exchange for attacking is very useful for breaking apart fields. It's not like Alternative is a one-time use either, because the second effect of Ancients makes it a recurring threat. Furthermore, Alternative helps in making rank 8 Xyz monsters. The last thing to mention about the benefits it gives is that it goes hand in hand with Melody, so Alternative Dragon being added is definitely a big boost for Blue Eyes. Does this make the deck good enough? Yes, certainly good enough to be a competitive deck in the meta, but not good enough to where it dominates every other deck. At the end of the day, the deck still struggles from consistency issues. There is a somewhat reliance on drawing Sage or Ancients, however there is definitely potential with builds using Dawn Knight as well. Dawn Knight with more traps would make the deck a lot more consistent, but in return makes Blue Eyes less powerful, turning it into more of a control deck. Alternative Dragon doesn't often win games by itself, which is also why I'm not a massive fan of King of Dragons. The main purpose of King of D is to search Melody and to then search Alternative. Searching the other spell is more of a follow-up play. I think King of Dragons is more suited for Legionnaire decks like Thunder Dragon. That's not to say that I think the card has no place in Blue Eyes, because there very well could be an underlying build that makes good use out of it. Regardless, I think for the time being the card has little influence on how strong the deck is. If you are to use the card, there's a few skills you can play, the most popular one being Draw Loan, as it gives you a discard outlet. Speaking of skills, the one being used in Standard Blue Eyes is still Alternative Evolution. With Melody and itself, there's only 2 copies of Alternative Dragon, so I still agree with Alternative Evolution being the way to go. However, I do think that there is more opportunity to use other skills than there were before. With traps, Karma Cut is still one of the best there is, though it's not the only thing you can play in these slots. Any good discard trap or good generic back row works here instead. Some people choose to use a 4th trap instead of using Cosmo Brain or Ancient Rules. With the extra deck, the typical thing to do is 2 Spirit, 1 Azure and 1 Vermillion, with the last 3 being a case of your personal preference, though using at least 1 rank 8 Xyz is highly recommended and a good number of people like to use Twin Burst. In summary, Blue Eyes is good enough to be a competitive meta deck, but not good enough to be the best deck, which mainly stems from the imbalance the deck has between consistency and power. Enjoy the gameplay. Astro Phoenix, so locally balanced, or it is the hero matchup. Looks like heroes, so we're going to go Sage into Ancients, and then Cards of Continents. Okay, so we could Sage this into a bigger monster, which I think I kind of have to, because I can't really leave this in attack mode against heroes because of Trinity. So. And I am going to use the skill, because this way, once he destroys it, I can then add it back with Ancients. So I'm in defense mode. Nope. Cock-a-doodle-doo, I was not expecting that. charge of a light brigade. Okay. Am I going to get black rosed or? Using cheap to summon Crudilby mills a Genomix fighter and another cheap. He is milling a lot of cards. That's kind of scary. Normal's Lumina. Gonna bring back Raiden, I assume. Luckily this is only luckily this is only 3 Lights 1 names, so not enough to summon a Judgment Dragon. Okay, yeah, still 3. Unless he makes my call and then makes a Star Eater and then summons a Judgment Dragon. That would be unfortunate. So yeah, it looks like the alternative is getting banished here. Also, maybe the skill that he's using will be triggered here. So, I find it weird that he's targeting the Dragon Spirit, because that's the one that can dodge the effects. And I'll summon this in attack mode now, because now there is no fear of Trinity. Okay, what's happening? Is this battle tuned? No, that's the scoop. Okay. So that wasn't a deck that you would expect to see on the ladder, but I think even if our opponent was playing hero there, we would definitely be in a winning position. Okay, so this is Territory of the Sharks. Turn 1 Hope Raven, sets a card as well. Okay. There's a delay on if I set this. There is not, so it is not Ballista Squad or Cosmic Cyclone. I'm going to go normal Sage, and hope there's not a Karma Cut, I think. Because I don't think that this deck plays Karma Cuts. I could be wrong, and if I am, I'm about to find out. Yeah, Canada. He booked it preemptively in fear of Sage. Okay. I'm going to Karma Cut this, I think. Yeah. Then in the end phase I will banish his face down card. That would have hurt. Okay, so this is game. So I think even though we're not facing any meta decks, the hands that I'm drawing and the boards that they are making are still fairly representative of very plausible games that could happen if we were to face a meta-relevant matchup.